In this video, I want to show you how to publish your workflow as a form so that it can be embedded into your program, or you can give a link to your clients or students, or use it within your team internally. I've been working on my dinner party planner practice workflow here on the Bots Mean Business channel. And if you've watched my previous videos, you know that we can go to New Run up here at the top, put our inputs in, and run the workflow right here inside of MindPal. But if you want to use it outside of MindPal, you're going to have to publish your workflow as a form. So let's go to Form and turn the publishing on. Publishing it as a form doesn't mean it's published somewhere out there publicly. It just means that you are going to make this workflow available. You have full control over who is using it. Now, there's a lot of customization that go into getting your form published, and I'll probably cover that in a later video. I'm just going to leave the form settings for the interface just on the default. So this is what it's going to look like over here on the right. It gives you this preview. Under access and security, if you want to enable your custom domain, you could do that. I don't have a paid account or a custom domain, so I don't. If you want this to be published on your own custom domain, you could purchase that. That way your link wouldn't be workflow.getmindpal.com. It would be whatever your custom domain is. You can also restrict embedding and iframing. You need a paid account for that. But what that means is, and I highly recommend this, if you want to take this form and embed it into, say, your course or your membership, like what I have inside of Video Brand Academy, I want to make sure that if anyone got their hands on the code for the form, that they wouldn't be able to go and embed it into their own academy or product or course. So with a paid account, I'd be able to turn this on and tell it exactly what domains are allowed to embed this and actually run the form. And the rate limit enforcement is a confusing setting because it's not per user of the form. It's for the form itself, however many users there are. So like right now, it's set to maximum conversations, 1 per minute. If I wanted to change this to per day, I need to have a paid account. So if I change this over to 10 per minute, that means it doesn't matter if 10 people are using this form or one person is using this form 10 times. It's going to max out at 10 per minute, no matter how many people are using the form. I'm going to turn that off because we don't need it. Under functionality, this part is kind of tricky. If you want to force the form to be used only in supervised mode, you can turn that on. What that means is that after each step of the multi-step workflow, the human who is running that workflow has to approve each step before continuing. You might want to turn that on to ensure that your workflow isn't being run from beginning to end, and ultimately to not be the right output that the user is actually looking for, which would be a waste of your credits and tokens. If you want your users to be able to easily rerun the workflow from the beginning, you can turn that on. If you turn on allow users to export the workflow results as a PDF document, then they'll be able to download the entire output of your workflow as a PDF, just like it sounds. Same thing with allowing them to share the workflow results on social media. It'll give them a link that they can share on social, and anyone could go and look at the results of their workflow. You can choose to turn off the title of the agents that are executing each step of your workflow. If you want to kind of keep the steps in the workflow sort of private, you can also hide any tool call argument, again, to keep the privacy of how you have your workflow set up. I definitely recommend keeping the regenerate option on. That allows users to regenerate the output of any node, so any step of your workflow. That can be really helpful. Also, allowing your users to edit the output of any node. Obviously, all of this depends on your workflow, the intention of your workflow, what it needs to do, what your users are going to need to do with it, and how much control you want people to have over it ultimately. If you want your users to be able to copy the output of any node to their clipboard, just hit, Control C essentially, so they can paste that text somewhere else. You want to make sure you have that turned on. If you want to give your users a button to just copy the output of your node so they can paste it somewhere else, you want to have that turned on as well. And if you want your users to be able to duplicate your entire workflow and add it to their own MindPal workspace, you can turn this option on. Node visibility is a little bit confusing because you might have a workflow that you really don't want anyone using it to see all of the steps that it's going through in the background. It's not the same thing as showing the title of the agents executing each workflow step. It's more like deciding to maybe hide my orchestrator node so that the user can't see the entire output that the orchestrator was able to come up with, but they'll be able to see the next steps that followed after that. So let's go ahead and turn that off. Back up to the showing the title of the agent executing each workflow step. I like to have this off so that my users can't see the name of the actual agent, like personal assistant agent or recipe developer. Sometimes I name my agents like weird and wacky things. And honestly, I don't want the name of the agent to be a distraction from what this workflow is actually doing for the user. I recommend playing around with these settings and then going and look on the front end of the form once you do publish it and experience it as a user yourself so that you can make the decision about what you want your users to see or not see. Some things might just be too much information. Other things, maybe you just want to keep it to yourself because this is your intellectual property. So let's hit Save Changes and then go to Share Options. This is where you can take this form and share it outside of MindPal. So you get a link, you can paste that into your browser, you can send this to anybody. And we didn't do a lot of fancy customizations to it, so you can see that it's pretty plain. If you want to embed it into your website or inside your course or program, like my workflows are embedded inside of my Kajabi product for Video Brand Academy. You can also grab the HTML code and embed it into your site. I demonstrated exactly how to embed your agent chatbots and workflows into your Kajabi product in my video about how to turn your agents into chatbots. So you can find that here in this MindPal Beginner's Guide series. Now, unfortunately, I don't have enough AI credits in my free MindPal account to demonstrate this form for you. As a reminder, if you're not totally sure whether you should create an agent or a workflow, or if you want help creating your entire MindPal setup, you can access my free MindPal Assistant Custom GPT. I'll put a link down in the description. You don't have to give me your email address or anything, and you don't need to have a paid ChatGPT account to use it, but I trained it based on MindPal's documentation and my own internal instructions to keep it easy and simple and jargon free.